Yes guys, how's it going? Welcome back to a new video. I sat down about 10 minutes ago to talk about Newcastle heading off to Austria on their pre-season tour to talk about Newcastle's new head of football strategy. And as I've sat down, Newcastle United have just placed a bid for Frankfurt striker Hugo Ekitike. Wow, literally, as I'm sitting down, Fabrizio Romano, Keith Downey, Sky Sports Germany reporting that Newcastle are in negotiations with both Frankfurt and the player, and Fabrizio Romano saying that Newcastle have now submitted a bid in excess of £70 million to try and land the player and get the deal done quickly. If you would like to see Hugo Ekitike join Newcastle this summer, drop a like on this video, subscribe as well. Help me get closer to that 50,000 subscribers. Videos every day at the moment. And wow, this would be massive. So as I say, Fabrizio Romano is saying that Newcastle have submitted an official bid to Frankfurt for the player. In fact, saying that they have put in a proposal in excess of 70 million. So they are proposing a higher fee than what was previously offered by another club this summer. So Newcastle have come in, they know that somebody else has placed a bid, but are pushing to get the deal done and have submitted a higher cost. Frankfurt themselves are looking to try and get the full 86 million. As reported, is Ekitike's release clause. Newcastle looks like they're not coming in quite as high, but trying to get the deal done nonetheless. Wow. As I say, Keith Downey, Sky Sports, also reporting that we have stepped up their interest in the long-term striker. The Tyneside club have held meetings in Germany over the past week. If you've been on social media today and you've been looking at the planes, people are talking about the fact that a private jet, in fact, set off from Frankfurt and landed at an airport very close to where Newcastle are holding our Austrian pre-season training. So reports are that a further meeting took place in Austria today when Newcastle have travelled for the pre-season. Talks centre over what would be an NUFC club record fee for the 23-year-old striker that we tried and failed to sign back in 2022. Whoa! So as I say, this is one that's kind of continued, developed since the end of last week. As I mentioned, it's gone on all summer, really. We were in for Delap, it didn't happen. We were in for João Pedro. And look, it wasn't even necessarily the amount we were willing to pay that kind of stopped that deal. It was that Pedro decided he wanted to go to Chelsea. The fees were high. It was 55 million, 60 million. Newcastle moved on to their next target in Hugo Ekitike. When the reports first started, it felt a little bit of a kind of a media push, of an agent push, because Ekitike had that release clause. It's someone that Eddie Howe was interested in previously. Newcastle needed a striker, so it all kind of, the dots were there, but maybe didn't quite join up. But as the days have kind of gone along, Sky Sports talking about the fact that striker is very much the priority for Newcastle United, and that Hugo Ekitike was someone that Eddie Howe still, as I say, had on his wall, still had on his list. But the question would be if we would pull the trigger. Well, reports are this evening that we have pulled the trigger and that a bid has been submitted for the player. Isak and Ekitike up front next season would be absolutely wild. As I've mentioned about the trip to Austria this morning, there was no pictures of Isak. There was a few people getting a little bit worried. Don't worry, there is pictures of Isak now. He has joined the pre-season that little bit later in the day. Same with Tonali coming from all over the place from international duty. But the reports continue to say that Ekitike is not as much as Liverpool fans would like to kind of get me words out my mouth. As much as Liverpool fans would like to hear it, Ekitike is not a replacement for Isak. It is to have both players available to really push on this season. Premier League, Champions League, Carabao, FA Cup. Striker's an important position to fill. Callum Wilson leaving. And look, if Newcastle continue down the route of maybe like a backup to Isak, I wouldn't necessarily be against it. The likes of a Wizard's being linked, don't mind that at all. But Ekitike is a massive step and a massive claim of intent on what we want to try and achieve this season. And look, I think it's extremely smart of Newcastle in the long term as well. People have spoken a little bit about the possibility of having to let players go when you're spending that amount of money. It's got to come from somewhere. We still need a centre-back. We still need a goalkeeper. I still wouldn't mind a centre midfielder. You know, talk about the amount of money available in Newcastle. And someone like Gordon has been linked away. Potentially, we could see what kind of comes along with that one. But as much as anything, it's while we are waiting for Isak to sign that new contract or sign that new deal. At the moment, we don't know what is happening with Isak. And by that, I mean, my hope is that he stays this season. My hope is that he signs a new contract. My hope is that he signs a new 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 5 year contract, and him and Ekitike can play alongside each other for the next 5 years. But what things very smart of Newcastle is that, for example, right now, Isak, 3 years left on his deal. There is no need to sell. There is no rush to sell. And if we were going to sell, we want 200 million from the highest bidder. However, if we don't get a new deal for Isak done over the next year, and then next summer he's got 2 years left, 100 million, Barcelona, Real Madrid, a year later, 50 million. Like, what we want right now really is for Isak to at least sign another year. It gives us that little bit longer, it gives us that more commitment, and it keeps the price high next summer. However, if it does come to a stage where maybe next summer Isak is being linked away, if we've had Ekitike in for a full season, he's lurked behind Isak, he's still a young player, he's grown to the Premier League, we are building something up here. Look, if we can keep them both, amazing. But it's just trying to foolproof our future. Don't just wait around for it. Don't bring in, a Calvert-Lewin for a season, and then next season we're having to try and buy a striker again. What Newcastle have continued to do with the likes of Tino Livramento, like Lewis Hall, Trafford being linked as the goalkeeper, we're bringing in young players that we hope we can build a team with for a very long time. Elanga coming in, very young again on that right-hand side. Anthony Gordon's still very young. Ekitike joins that club alongside Isak. And if Eddie Howe could find a way to play them both in the same team together, I would be a very happy man. But certainly coming in as an option, a squad builder, a rotation, it's a player who certainly rebuilt his reputation, rebuilt his career at Frankfurt, and is certainly a more complete player than maybe the one that we were linked with back in 2022. If only we had bought him back in 2022, he would have cost about 60 million less than it sounds like he's going to cost us now. So let me know your thoughts in the comments on Newcastle, on Hugo Ekitike. I don't want to keep going over old ground, but I know it's something that people have mentioned in the comments, and it is the fact that he did turn us down 3 years ago. But, as I've mentioned previously, he was a young player then. He had the opportunity to go to Paris. He had the opportunity to go to PSG, play for that big team in his league. He started there well on loan, and then PSG sold him for Frankfurt for half the amount of money that he got there for. I mean, as a young lad who kind of, I guess, had his path and dreams laid in front of him to go and play for PSG, to kind of have them shot down and sold off to Germany, you've got to imagine he has learnt and grown from that experience. Since then, he has opened up and said that the Premier League is a league that he wants to play in. And you know what, in the world of, I was going to say in the world of football, or just the world generally, bygones be bygones. And if he wants to be part of this side, he's going to come in, he's going to work hard, then, I'm absolutely open to it. And I think a lot of Newcastle fans are certainly from the comments that I've been reading. So Let's hope Newcastle will crack on and get this one done. As I mentioned, it has been said that he is interested in that move to the Premier League. It's been said in that Fabrizio Romano article this evening that another team has already placed a bid. So it's great. I'm getting... The flies are trying to attack me here. So it's great news. Or is it a wasp? Trying to get in the video. So it's great news that Newcastle are stepping it up and making that move, trying to get it done, trying to pay the higher fee. However, if Frankfurt are fully aware that they have not only Newcastle but another team bidding, are they going to continue to hold out and push for that full £86 million release clause? It wouldn't surprise me. Is it 86 million because it's 100 million euros? That would potentially make sense because that's some of the figures that I've been seeing. And Manchester United, Chelsea, obviously, because they're linked to everybody. There's other teams in here that are looking to fight for the player. Let's just hope that it goes Newcastle's way and that we're able to offer the project, able to offer the lads Champions League football, able to offer the lads a lot of game time. As I say, some of the teams that I've just mentioned there, I don't think can offer quite the same as Newcastle. The fact that he had conversations with us last time around, fair enough, he chose PSG in the end, but we were still in there. We were still in the mix. He knows Eddie Howe. He knows that Newcastle have brought in young players like himself and elevated them, taking their careers to a next level. Eddie Howe's spoken about wages previously, wanting to be able to compete with the big teams on wages. It would not surprise me if Ekitike is a player that we may well need to really push the boundary on to offer him the package that he wants as well. Right, guys, I'm going to end it there. As I say, thank you for watching this video. As always, drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Drop a like if you would like to see this one happen. Very exciting to see that Newcastle are just in the market to try and really get some big deals done. Obviously, Elanga over the line was a fantastic start. A new striker in Ekitike would be pretty massive to have him join the club. And a big, as I say, a massive statement to have Isak as the arguably, one of or the best striker in the world right now, and then to go out and get another of one of the best strikers in the world is pretty mad. So big reports tonight. Thank you for watching. As always, as I say, I'll be back tomorrow with more updates, probably doing a Toon Tuesday tomorrow to cover some of the stuff I would have talked about today, but as you can see why, it has been slightly pushed aside for this video instead. Right, thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you later.